This is the fifth and final time we've been discussing the topic of metal pipes in the Baigong Mountains. Today, we'll take a look at some of the cities being built near and far. The southern areas below the metal pipes find are not particularly interesting in terms of global lattice debris. There is an area of lakes here, and it appears that this area underwent significant destruction during the global cataclysm. First, we move a few miles west to a place called City Shenzhen. At first glance, this area seems strange. It is a mining area, where workers from a mining company are working to remove the hills in the area. Why such effort, and what is the purpose? Let's take a closer look at the place. At first glance, you will notice a large number of power poles and a local power plant. This energy comes from solar panel fields and supplies power to both Zitia Shanshan and the huge mining area to the south. We have already inspected this area of lattice structure debris. As you can see, this area is much darker than the surrounding area, and geometric reservoirs appear here. Some of these basins are still not cleaned of calcium sediments. Also note that these water reservoirs are connected by lines to others at the top of the image. And here other large pools are breaking through. There are still traces of the truss beams. Limestone deposits are still visible in the upper part of the image. Traces of intelligent construction are also visible in the neighboring future water basin. Everything was swallowed up by stone and covered by limestone. In detail, traces of the internal beams can still be seen. A mining machine is located in the middle of the pool, removing sediment. Note the structure of the limestone, which resembles waves. We'll look at a few more details and then move further east. Do you see them there? They are used for road construction. Many of the world's cities were probably built this way. Oops, here's proof of what lies beneath the surface. Everywhere you look, rock is being removed, like here. The formations you see are original. They have become part of the rock, and some look like they have been ironed out. Identical ones can be found in the Sahara, on both American continents, in Australia, and elsewhere. And there will be more water basins here. Here you can see where the mining equipment is cutting through. This was also a hill, and notice a kind of park. You might be wondering why a park in the middle of the mine? What are they looking for in the hills? Look at the chaos, but this is not the work of machines. and here again traces of construction appear. Here will be more pools. And one more. This is an interesting detail. There appears to be a small water reservoir in the middle, and a strange line extends from this limestone formation. It could be a trace of an anchor point on a gigantic pillar. If true, it is certainly buried deeper here. Let's look for comparison with similar points elsewhere. The best preserved anchorages are found in Australia. They have one thing in common: a circular center from which lines radiate out in all directions. In some places, entire slabs appear to have survived as part of a lost column. They are of a different shape, and there are two identical pools on each side of a circular opening. There is mostly water here, and these places are now used as watering places for cattle. This means that the columns must have been hollow. Most of these plates have been torn out, and traces of the global network, i.e. the lattice structure, remain. This is one of the anchors that survived in Waiale, Australia. You can still see the remains of the truss structure that was anchored there, protruding from the opening. Everything has been swallowed up by the rock. We will return to Asia and look at the more distant regions in the east. We looked at these areas in the last video. Here's a picture of the bird. We will now look at this area in detail. There are strangely geometric arrays of solar panels here. There are a large number of them here for the needs of mining activities and the daily lives of the inhabitants. The area is remote and was probably settled relatively recently. But look at what these fields were built on. An older picture reveals a different perspective. As if the surface here was made up of some kind of blocks, the image seems very plastic. And here we have a different geometric shape. It's like copying a circular lattice structure. but we'll see the actual circular structure here in a moment. By the way, have you ever wondered why Windows is called Windows? Yes, you have many windows here too. The world is full of windows. Some are blinded, others reveal their contents. The church's stained glass windows are also a symbol of the earthly temple. That is, they are a symbol of the global lattice structure. But we will talk about that another time. In this image, you can clearly see how the vegetation in some areas reveals the entire structure. This was not artificially planted, but the trees grow here because the roots have access to water. Notice how these lines and rows of trees end abruptly. They continue below the mountains. There are finer patterns found in the surrounding area, but we must remember that agriculture has never existed here due to the climatic conditions. Now we move on to this area where strange things are happening. But let's go back to solar panels for a moment. In the south, there are huge fields of solar panels. They have a strange geometric arrangement, and it's probably no coincidence. Note that they were built among sand dunes. If we zoom in on the image, it appears that the geometry of the solar arrays copies the original one that was there. On the left, part of the image is overlaid with an older image, and here too, geometric blocks are visible in the rock. Here, I will try to highlight the image so that you can see that the geometry of the solar fields continues into the surrounding terrain. As you can see, there are many similar places here. Some of the lines are less visible, but they all connect in geometric regularity to these solar fields. Solar panels supply energy to the city, which is being built further north and which we will explore. Look closely at the surroundings, where there are sand dunes and probably also limestone deposits. And another field of solar panels among the dunes. That means these dunes had to be cleared. Why all the effort? There are other areas nearby where sand is not found. This is a strange place. At first glance, it seems that these are some kind of mounds. With a little imagination, these formations can be compared to staples in an office stapler. And it is strange that the same formations are found in the Sahara in remote areas, as if someone threw them there. I will try to find pictures. We are on the southern edge of the Sahara, where these formations are found. It really looks like someone threw them in there. If you want to see this place yourself, I've added the coordinates to the image. They also resemble staples in an office stapler, right? The areas they are found in appear to be wetlands. We can see some kind of depressions that create water bodies. There are a lot of them here, and the geometry of the Earth's lattice structure is hidden around them. You can see it in the video called Stellar Citadels, West Sahara, Part 1, where these images come from. Now we move to the interior of the Sahara. I am sure there are more similar areas here. Can someone tell me what this is? It looks somewhat organized here, but it still doesn't make sense. Is it part of a truss structure? We'll look at this again when we look at the Sahara. Now back to Asia. There is definitely something else beneath these structures. The geometry is revealed by the vegetation. And other geometric fields. They are everywhere, and they are all over the world. Do you see it? I'll try to highlight the image so you can understand how complicated it is. The picture is the same everywhere. So where did it come from if areas like this have never been inhabited for a long time? The dimensions are huge. Look here. Do you see that network? On the left side of the image, a city is already emerging. The rock is being removed, most likely limestone. But look at the color. You might think of the colorful mountain ranges in China and the Americas. And here again, among the hills, lies a field of solar panels. Now we come to the most interesting thing about this place. First up is a kind of park. At first glance, you can see a sharp separation between the city and the mountains. The border here is formed by a road. But look at that pattern. I think it was created by groundwater seepage. That means there's something lurking beneath the surface. It is difficult to define, but it is very likely that a larger part may be located under the buildings and across the road under the hills. As you can see in the older images, this place had a completely different relief. It was as if there were stacked blocks of limestone. Do you see the geometry? Vegetation appears in places where groundwater seeps in. But let's look a little further away, where another part of the city is being built. New construction is taking place right next to the solar panels, but something is wrong. Do you see it? My God. This is not how a city is built. Do you know what the problem is? You are looking at the problem right now. Everything was hidden under the terrain. That blue color again. Do you see it there? What's wrong here? These are traffic signs and pedestrian crossings. None of that should be here. These signs are made along with landscaping after the construction of new buildings. And I'm not talking about the fact that roads are built after the construction of utilities. None of that is here. Where are the pedestrians and cars? What are we actually looking at? Roads buried under sediments. In this context, it makes me wonder why China builds megalomaniac projects. Ghost towns where no one lives. Could this be the same case? Is this some kind of riddle, some kind of message? But why are there pedestrian crossings and traffic signs here, while there are only hills around? Where have the houses that were supposed to be here gone? My God. And here's another crosswalk, crossing from one side of the hills to the other side of the hills. Do you understand that? Here, there is even some kind of paving. But why couldn't something like this be preserved for many thousands of years, thanks to preservation with burnt lime? That is limestone, as mentioned in the Bible in the parables. But let's move on to the next find. Another area of strangely symmetrical geometry looks almost plastic. We come to the highlight of this video, the circular truss structure. Let's look at the details. You can still see the placement of the beams under the rock deposits. The whole area is being cleared, and there will probably be a pond in the middle. Its outlines are also visible. They are white. Right next to this place, the entire circular structure is very likely preserved, but it is still not revealed. Part of it is still below the surface and is crossed by roads. It may not be completely revealed, but its lines will be used as paths in the park and the like. You can see that there are still deposits of blue limestone here. Does that seem incredible to you? As you can see, mining work is gradually underway here. Everything is being removed from the surface. However, this circular structure is not the only one. Let's look elsewhere for comparison. A circular lattice structure in Bolivia, which Bilderberg presents as a lithium mine. Nearby are gigantic slabs, the remains of another lattice structure, and traces of a destroyed city. We will return there some other time. This circular structure still lies beneath sediments. It is also located in Bolivia in an area called La Jolla. There are sinkholes and other remains of the structure nearby. Another sonar image from the Baltic Anomaly site also reveals a circular structure. It is possible that this structure was covered by a circular structure in the shape of a temple of some kind. Some believe it to be a sunken spaceship. Another circular structure is the Rotunda in Florida. This time, however, it is not just a supporting structure, but the entire geometry of the original city has been preserved. We will talk more about the Rotunda in the next video because it seems to be at the top of our poll. We also have to mention the circular fields, which science claims are a modern way of cultivating fields in dry areas. Yes, because water seeps under many of these circles. But in Saudi Arabia, the vegetation in these circles is being removed, and the well-known circular lattice structure is reappearing. By the way, we have these circles on the Babylonian tablet. But let's go back to Asia and look at other strange structures. About 600 miles east of the Iron Pipe, find at Baigong is an area in Mongolia with an unpronounceable name. I couldn't find a place with that name on the internet, and it doesn't seem like lithium is mined there. It's a desert area where erosion and sinkholes have occurred. Another part of the Earth's lattice structure has appeared here, but it's very deformed. As you can see, there is a smaller settlement here, and roads leading into the desert appear again. Here again we have road signs, dividing lines, crossings, and all this in places where there is nothing. In places, it seems that groundwater is seeping. Is this even possible? The road ends at places where the geometry we already know appears. There will probably be another Central Park here, like in Manhattan. Do you see the vegetation growing in rows? Some places look like they've been here for a very long time. And here we come to the area of collapses and debris of the supporting structure. As you can see, many parts are incomplete. Some are flooded and twisted. This may have once been a water channel. Here it is broken off and ends in a depression. Here the canal disappears and its further path is indicated by vegetation. There are a lot of dunes around. There's a road here. It's quite strange, near sinkholes and water tanks. If we move the timeline to 2014, road signs will appear. Do you see the turn arrows? And here's a dashed line, maybe for a turn. Anyway, the arrows point towards the water. Here it is 2020. The road markings are no longer visible, and it appears that new asphalt has been laid. So take a look around this area before we say goodbye. With this video, I conclude the topic of the Baigong pipes. Although we will definitely return to the Asian region, there are many other interesting finds here. These metal pipes are a remnant of the advanced civilization we know today. When it happened is irrelevant, because time only exists in our heads. It is part of this matrix. We are the ones who have forgotten that we were here a long time ago. And science is doing everything we can to make sure that we don't remember anything. It's not in our heads, it's in our hearts. In the next video, we'll meet Playton in Florida. Until then, have a great time.